Today on the channel, we are out in Conroe, Texas, just about 10 minutes north of the Woodlands, and I think that I may have found my favorite community in Conroe, but we'll see if it is a favorite for you. Today we're checking out Grand Central Park, and it is a beautiful community that has tons of walking trails, tons of lakes, tons of amenities, jam-packed with beautiful builders and things that I think you are going to love. If that sounds like something that you are interested in, stay tuned. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Aaron, and every week I'm helping buyers relocate to and throughout the greater city of Houston and the surrounding suburbs. So if you need to know anything about where to eat, sleep, live, play, hit me up morning, noon, or night. I am your guy. If this is not your first time here, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the comment section down below and let me know where you're watching this video from. If you're thinking about Conroe, if you're thinking about Grand Central Park, any way it is, I would love to be a resource for you. Call, text, email, hit the comment section down below. Let's hop right into the video. And like any planned community in the greater Houston metro, it'll never be perfect. It'll never be perfect. But this one's pretty close. Like, I came out here and I have completely adjusted what I'm looking at when it comes to being in a community just based off of this tour. It's been a while since I've been out here, and I guess I don't know if I didn't see it the first time, but right now my eyes are wide open and I am seeing all the things that I would love and enjoy about being out here in Conroe and Grand Central Park. And so to hop right into the pros, the first pro is that it is surrounded by nature, which, if you've been watching my channel for a while, so many of these communities, they come and just basically decimate everything that was there. It's very flat. It doesn't really have the pizzazz of somewhere that kind of fools you into believing that it was once something that wasn't just barren land, right? That we've now put a bunch of houses and a bunch of stuff on. And so, not to get all hippie on you, but to come out here is just a breath of fresh air. To come out here to a walking trail that has been here is great. To come to a lake that has been here. This actually used to be a part of an old Boy Scout group's land, and they used to have pavilions and things that even this developer has currently still renovated and using today. And so to be right now, we're outside of Deer Lake, which is super gorgeous. This isn't even the biggest one. And then there's a 90-acre lake by the lake house that we'll go check out here in a little bit. But just to have walking trails and pavilions and lakes and things all in the trees, as you sprinkle that in, you get to see the homes that are sprinkled in and behind us. I don't know if you can see that behind me right now, but those are within the trees. And so this is one of those communities for those people that really want to be in the woodlands, that really love the feel of the woodlands and want to be in the trees and kind of have that same feel of being green and lush. You can get that out here where you can't really get that in many places. And so definitely pro number one to me is just being in the mix of this feel of nature, being one with nature, and just the greenness and the serenity that you can get out here. Definitely pro number one for me. So the second reason why I think that Grand Central Park is amazing is because it has outstanding amenities. Right now we are at the lake house, which is basically like their event hub and center that they have here on site. It currently houses their gym facility. It's right around the corner from the old Boy Scout camp pavilion, where they have renovated it, and now they have game spaces. They have, checkers and chessboards out there. They have cornhole, things that you can do. This is one of the smaller lakes behind me. On the other side of that lake is the Grand Lake, which is the one I had the brain fart about on the previous segment. That is about 90 acres, 88, 89 acres of lake that you can do catch and release fishing. All of the amenities here are outstanding. We're also around the corner from their pool house, which is on the opposite side of the lake house. And so it is definitely just one that is action-packed, filled with amenities. If you take a step outside of the community, you have the 336 marketplace that is going to give your commercial, your Kroger's, your grocery stores, things that you can do, your shopping. If you go up Grand Central Parkway, you'll see the other side of the commercial where you can have some office suites and some other things that you can do on the site. So it is just very well thought out. Johnson Development, they know what they are doing when it comes to developing this land, and they did a great job with here. And so number two pro for sure for living out here in Grand Central Park is definitely going to be the outstanding amenities. The third pro and reason why I think you should be considering Grand Central Park is that it has some of our most luxury builders in the greater Houston metro, and definitely some of the most searched videos on my channel. You got your Drees homes, you got your Weston, you got your David Weekleys, your Coventrys, Tri-Point, Highland homes, you name it, Perry homes, they got it out here. And they're gonna have different sections that are going to satisfy basically every budget out here. So you're gonna have your smaller sections like the ones you can see behind me right now, and you're gonna work your way up into a bit of a wider footprint to get into those bigger home sites. And then also there's going to be a couple custom builders out here that'll truly give you into that much wider footprint and a much wider section where you can get into, you know, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 plus if you so desire. But for about $400,000 you can get out here right now brand new. This community's been out here in broken ground for about 5 or 6 years now, and so they definitely have some resale options as well. But if you're looking on the new construction front and you're trying to be this side kind of close to the woodlands, have the amenities, have the greenery, have the things that you want to see, the trees, all these beautiful trees that you see around us, this is probably one of the closest spots that you can get and also have this caliber of luxury builder throughout the community. There are definitely some communities up here that will give you the look and the greenery, but the builder level is not going to be at the level of a Highland Homes, a Weston, a Perry for most of those communities. Some of those are just going to be a little bit smaller and a little bit more dialed down, but out here you can go full luxury if you want it. So definitely pro number 3 is having the quality of builder and the size of lots and variety that you can get out here in Grand Central Park. The 4th pro to being in Grand Central Park has to be the location. In my opinion, this is one of the better locations in Conroe. It's nestled right off of 45, and so if you're going up 45 to get into the community, it's going to bring you off of Grand Central Parkway, and that's going to ride you straight down into the community. And so for me getting up here, I live currently just north of the loop, and so it took me like 30 minutes to get here, which is one of the quickest communities to get to the loop from the suburbs when you compare that to some of the other communities I've showcased on the channel. And so from a distance standpoint, this is definitely not super far from the loop. So if you have a lifestyle that brings you in and out of the loop, this may be one of the options that you want to consider, even though when you hear the name Conroe, you think that it's going to be super far out. This one is actually kind of tucked in a little bit closer to the woodlands than you would think. And so definitely location is one of the things that I think is a positive about it. Now, I will be honest and say that this is the first time that I have ever been on 45 and it wasn't super crazy. It was like perfect traffic today, and it took me 30 minutes. I would say on average you could probably expect to be somewhere in that like 40 to 45-ish kind of minutes to get from here to in and out of the city on average, depending on how far down 45 you got to go. As you kind of get deeper into the loop on 45, it becomes a nightmare. But if you got to get to the outskirts of the loop, or if you're just looking at distances between living and play inside the loop, this isn't going to be the worst commute that you could have for sure. So definitely pro number 4 is that I think you have a great location where you're close to the woodlands. You're 10 minutes from the woodlands, close to the other amenities of the suburbs that have been building out this way in Conroe, and you're about 30 to 35 minutes from the loop in Houston. So definitely a great location. And the 5th pro to living in Grand Central Park is that you're going to be tied to a great school district. So out here, you're going to be tied to Conroe ISD. That is not too dissimilar from any of our other suburbs or any of our other planned communities. But out here, you're going to have pretty solid schools that you are tied to in the community. I'll leave a link to niche.com and great schools so you can check it out for yourself for the specific ratings from elementary all the way up through high school. But out here, and like many of our suburbs, one of the pros of buying out here is that you are going to be tied to a pretty solid school district. So definitely some pros to keep in mind when you are looking out in Grand Central Park. And this next one is kind of a pro, kind of a con. The con is that it is a higher tax rate than you would get in the greater Houston metro. So right now, I live in the city and I currently pay like 2.2 for my property taxes. And so out here, you're gonna be well above that. However, you're gonna be much lower than you would be in some of the communities that I've showcased. So most of the communities that I've showcased, like a Bridgeland, like a Town Lake, like a Marvita, Mira Mesa, any of those communities, they all have tax rates that are somewhere around 3.5 to 3.7%, somewhere in that zone. So this one comes in at a whopping 2.9. I think it's like 2.97. So I don't want to short you and be like it is such a drastic decrease, but it is a pro when you compare it to some of the other communities that are out in the Houston metro that I showcased, right? So you can get these luxury builders, you can get the greenery, you can get all these things. But I will say the combination of currently, at least as of the recording of this video, the combination of higher interest rates, a higher entry barrier to get into this community being around 400,000 and above for the most part, and to have a property tax of almost 3, you're still going to be paying about $1,000 a month, give or take, to live out here if you don't have specific benefits like VA benefits to get your taxes removed, or if you don't exercise your home exemption, which if you're my client, I'm gonna tell you to use your exemption. That's gonna knock you down some, but still, you're starting out pretty high compared to the greater city of Houston. But the pro slash con is because the pro of it is that you're still lower than some of the more marquee communities in the greater Houston metro, like a Bridgeland, like a Town Lake, like a Marvita, like a Sunterra. All of these ones that I've recently showcased on the channel basically have much higher tax rates than you would out here. So the pro con of living out here in Grand Central Park is that you are going to have a lower tax rate than some of the more premier communities, but you're still kind of high compared to the greater Houston metro. The second con that I have for Grand Central Park, and this is again being a little bit nitpicky, mainly because if you're looking out in a community like this, you know what you are getting yourself into. And that is that the barrier of entry is just going to be higher than some of your smaller kind of one-off communities that are in the area. I mean, you're getting all these amenities, lakes, walking trails, event coordinators, all these things that come with being in a premier community like this. So the barrier of entry is going to be fairly high. I would say, as of the recording of this video this morning, I believe the lowest priced home from a new construction standpoint that was under construction right now was $398. And for that, you would get about 2,000 square foot. That's way bigger than you would get in some of the other locations that I've showcased recently on the channel for a premier location. So I would say that the pro to moving out this way is that you're gonna have the lower tax and that you're gonna get a little bit more bang for your buck. But the barrier of entry in conjunction with the tax that we just talked about is still gonna put you at a price point of paying, you know, a pretty premium to be out in a community like this. So only you can tell me whether or not that's worth it. But right now we're walking to the smaller sections of Highland Homes. We just came out of the Weston home that we were just in. They're ranging from anywhere from like the mid 5s to 750, give or take, for what they're building currently right now. And so you're definitely going to pay a pretty penny to be out here in the greater Conroe area. So con number 2 is the barrier of entry, but to soften that blow a little bit, you are going to get a little bit more bang for your buck when it comes to square footage out in Conroe versus some of the other premier locations like a Cypress, for example. The last con that I have for Grand Central Park, and this is again being super nitpicky, and as I was setting up to record this segment, you know, people pulled up of different backgrounds and kind of contradicted me almost immediately as I was pulling the camera out. I want to respect their privacy, so I didn't want to film them and be weird about it. But the question that I get asked whenever I'm looking in communities that are kind of far out and super far kind of away from Houston is, what is the diversity like, in so many words? And prior to that couple of families that pulled up while I was setting up for this shot, it was looking very not diverse in my experience, at least of today. Now I can say that everyone that I have walked by, whether they were on their bikes, whether they were walking by the trails, whether they were with their kids, everybody has spoken, everybody has been super nice, but the diversity was lacking when I compare that to on a average day in a Marvita, average day in a Town Lake, average day in a Bridgeland. The experience that I have out there is way more diverse, just based on my experience so far today. And so, like I said, I was about to say, you know, it was a major con, and then I saw a bunch of people walk into the various model homes that had different backgrounds, and so I would say that the diversity probably isn't as bad as it has appeared for the first portion of the day with me. Definitely nitpicky con number 3 is that the diversity levels are a little bit lower than maybe many would like compared to some of the other more marquee communities in Cypress and Katy that I've showcased on the channel. So how did I do? Did I scare you away from wanting to move to Grand Central Park? Hopefully I did not. That was not the intent. But like I do on this channel, I want to give you the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that you need to know to make a great decision for you and your family when it comes to making one of the biggest purchases of your life. And if I have done that and you have any questions for me, feel free to hit me up, call, text, email, hit the comment section down below. Let me know if there's anything that I can help you with, whether it's this community or any of the other communities in the greater Houston metro. I would love to be your go-to. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you have an amazing day.